Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to study the chapter 16 of Sufi Tales. So let's read the chapter, then I will talk about it. So this is the chapter. The title is Self-Conceived World. There were underground rats dwelling in a vacant plot of a housing society in a modern city. They were making their living underground, and it was their complete world. They had sufficient insects and soil to eat in that underground world. An elderly rat had educated the young rats that their underground rat world was the only world in the entire universe. Any desire and effort to find another world was just stupidity. He had also advised the young rats to always move in the horizontal direction. Only any vertical movement would be dangerous and harmful. In view of this situation and the elderly rat's advices, the rats were living in a habitual, happy life. One day, construction company suddenly commenced excavation of the vacant plots. They were the very moment when first bucket of the excavator hit the ground. The rats underground heard the blast and were immediately shocked and stunned. The rat world was being destroyed with each stroke of the excavator. The rats were frightened and helpless. They ran toward their wise elders, but wise elders were just as frightened and helpless as the youngsters. Faced with this situation, the rat came out of their holes and for the first time in their lives ran upward in a vertical direction. They ran until they came out on the main road of the housing society. Oh, how amazing! When the rats saw the spaciousness and light of the external world, they were astonished. They absolutely could not imagine the existence of houses and pleasant environment and brightness of the external world, having been for so long residents of the holes beneath the ground. They were repenting that by acting upon the advice of the elders of the rat world, they had not moved vertically before and had remained deprived of this paradise world. Hint: most people live in their self-conceived world and do not have the courage to come out of it. That becomes habitual to them. They also select their teachers from within the parameters of their self-conceived world. All that makes them unable to discover what is existing in the ultimate world lying above their habitual self-conceived world. So this is a chapter, and here we can see that this is a graphic that these rats are moving out and they are wondering here. They are wondering that this world is so beautiful, and they all their lives they have known this world which is like a self-conceived world. This chapter is, all the chapters are beautiful, but this chapter has a unique line that I really I will just read it out once again. that an elderly rat educated the young rats, and their underground rats was the only world in the entire universe. So now, there is a conditioning. Our society, our parents, ourselves, we are just copy and pasting whatever we are thinking, whatever the rights and wrongs and all these things. We are telling the boundaries, and boundaries are very good to take care of the children to certain extent. Like, for example, if some young kid is there, we will never ask him to go to the balcony or go to the bathroom and do certain things which will harm him or her, that baby. But once it is like a maturity of age, like in the teenagers, we should tell actually this world is like, this world which Malik Saab is talking about is not a physical world, it's a other dimension. So we should not restrict our intellectual capacity, we should not impose restriction, because restriction is what? Restriction in itself is a stoppage of growth. Anything growing can only be grown in an environment where there is freedom to grow. If this phone, if this wants to grow, I have confined it, I have put boundaries across it, so it will never grow. Similarly, our intellect, if we barricade it, if we are barricading our intellect within certain rules or parameters, and even the idea of happiness is reduced to the material world, or enjoyment and all these things, so there is nothing else. It's very very limited. It is very limited in every aspect. This bodily or described in a description box, we have been given that this is your life purpose, these are the goals, so it's very limited. So we need to, everywhere, our mind and our body is designed that once we learn something, we want to learn more. This is, even our bodies are designed like this. Once you get a certificate that once you are passing the driving test, so you are passing the driving test, and they will give you the driving license, that you are having the license to drive around, roam around the city, that you are not going to harm anyone, because they have tested that one time this mind has learned some certain tricks, it is not going to make mistakes. It is going to make mistakes, but not in the bigger sense. So that we need to learn another skill, another license, so we will keep on growing. That way we are growing. So once we put a restriction on our mind or our capacity to grow, then we cannot grow. And self-conceived world is a deceiving world, where all our people, they have fear, and fear is the most important factor of stopping the growth. And God is saying in the Holy Quran that the people, my people, the people who are with me, they will not have any fear. وَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ, that they will not have any fear of the future, and they will not have any grief of the past, because fear is always from the future, and grief is always relates back to the past. So in short, this ayah is saying that person who is living in this moment now is my person, because he is not worried about tomorrow, and he is not worried about yesterday. He is just in this moment. I am speaking to you, I have the capacity to speak, I have the capacity to remember what I read, and I am sitting here, my hands are moving, I am making sound, and this equipment, they are recording it. So this moment, I need to live in this moment. After I finish recording, I will do some other thing, so I will need to live in that moment. and absorb whatever I can as per my capacity. Because I think that people who have grown, who have chosen to grow themselves spiritually, they have far better understanding of silence, of this moment. Even they can just keep quiet and sit 1 minute. In that 1 minute, their presence shake the material world around them, because they are so much powerful spiritually. Because all these material things behind them, behind their physical existence, is a spiritual energy. And once we have that spiritual energy, we can influence other things, like we are calling it vibes or vibrations or aura or some other things we are terming them. There are different terms. So this chapter is all about exploring the beyond, going beyond, not restricting ourselves, experimenting, and exploring at least out of intellectual curiosity, and not bounding by any idea or any conditioning. Actually, the growth is to get out of the conditioning and do something. Then even in this world, everyone is conditioned of a certain capacity. We have Olympic games, Commonwealth games, World Cups, all these things. So whoever is more than the average player, if I am playing, I have a capacity to run 100-meter race. Someone who is working on it, he sees that this is not my capacity. So that person is outshining the rest of the population, that he has done this 100-meter race in 10 seconds or in 5 seconds or whatever time is there. So they are testing their limits, and there are no limits. Even in the physical world, there are no limits. We can transform our body. We can see many bodybuilders, many people doing some amazing thing with this body. They are walking on a rope. They are the gymnasts who are playing like that. They have developed elasticity. So they are outshining the rest of the population, because rest of the population is on the default mode. They have the default setting set by their society, their elders. They're all. So once you break the barrier, then you see a new world. As these rats, they saw a new world once it was excavated. Suddenly in our lives, we are all the time being communicated by different forces to attract us, but we cannot see the beauty of that moment. Even if we walk by, there are some cats, there are some birds, there are some flowers. They are giving us some message, but we are not getting that message, because we are just looking in this one direction. So I hope that this chapter, whoever watching this video, I pray that you will get your fair share of divinity, and you are pursuing the desire to discover a new world. There are so many galaxies, so many worlds in this physical, and there are so many worlds in the spiritual realm as well. So I wish you all the best. Take very good care of yourself. God bless you all, and I will see you in another video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.